Basement Bookers Podcast.
A great disturbance in the force, as if millions of butts were hurt all at once. And it was felt. And we all the people, because you got to think to yourself, you got to think, people, you looked forward to this. You thought this would be where the hero comes in and defeats the unbeatable, climbs the unclimbable, claims all fragments of the Triforce and bring peace to Hyrule. My man Cody, you know what I'm talking about, but it was not to be. You see, we found out little birdies all over the internet that only marks are allowed to complain on, not wrestlers. Darby Allin will get you, but that this was always the plan, that Cody was never going to defeat the tribal chief. But even with that, the part that's beautiful is that the passion inside of you is real. If you feel extreme about a result like this, one way or the other, you're a fan and you care enough, and that should be appreciated. And sometimes people take things too far. They send they threatening people. That's not that serious. This is I have I couldn't stand how Game of Thrones ended. I'm not out there sending emails to G.R.R. Martin being like, finish the last two books. I'm worried about you. You've got a lot of comorbidities. But that's neither here nor there. We got to focus on the positive, that we care this much, and that when it happens, what's more impactful? Defeating the tribal chief before hitting 1,000 days as undisputed universal champion, main eventing, what is it? 4 WrestleManias in a row at this point? What are we even talking about here? Just think about this. Think about, y'all are all historians and wrestling, bro, folks that have been around longer than me and know way more than either of us. Look at Dusty Rhodes. You think Dusty had an easy time? Hard times. The whole story with the belt, he didn't even get to keep it. These are the journey. It's not going to be as powerful. He just comes in, wins Royal Rumble. You know, the peck tear. He's not even around to, do the things. You know what I mean? You can't just go in one, to one shot the tribal chief. It's like, for my fellow nerds out there, it's like going to world first in a raid, trying to get that boss beat on the hardest mode on the first try. The tribal chief is in God mode. It's been said over and over. How are you going to be in God mode and lose to this guy the first chance? And yes, you were already yelling, but he cheated. He cheated. My man, if you could just go into the Google machine and look up the Four Horsemen. I know maybe they're not like as a well-known group. Maybe you haven't heard of the Four Horsemen. Maybe you haven't heard of that, but they help Rick all the time. So, just my opinion on that. Let's see where this goes. That's why I wasn't as hurt, because it's like, wait, what? But wait a second. This is better. This is better because it's like you've got in there with the tribal chief. You know what you're dealing with. Actually know what you're dealing with. He said it himself. He almost had him. Cody Rhodes has to deal with a beast, not just any beast, a beast of both worlds. Brock Lesnar, who was dominant as the UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Brock Lesnar, whose WWE credentials speak for themselves, no matter what side he's on. And after being physically assaulted by the beast of both worlds, Cody Rhodes is in the underworld now after being defeated by the tribal chief, and he needs to fight his way through the trials. Monsters. And the first monster is the biggest, baddest beast on the block.
You know, Jer, hindsight being 2020, I feel like I should have considered this before when we were making our picks last week, but to have the bloodline completely crumble with the Usos losing the tag titles in night 1 and Roman losing the titles in night 2, that would have been a little too neat of a package, right? There's more story to be told within the bloodline. Having Roman retain allows them to tell the story of Roman is champ and the Usos have failed. And now, will the Usos get a redemption story? Will they be able to redeem themselves in the eyes of the tribal chief? Will they have to prove themselves again? What trials will Roman put them through besides Jay not having Jimmy on SmackDown against Sami Zayn? There's more to the story, and I am here for. I'm not one of those butthurt people. I am thoroughly enjoying the Bloodline storyline, and having Roman retain, keeping this concept of an ongoing story in mind, actually makes more sense.
Basement Bookers Podcast.